You've heard the saying that nyumba ni roof. That is, the roof is a house. Literally interpreting it. What people means basically is that the roof brings out the beauty of a house. Yeah, and the roof itself is it's actually a finishing. You know, once you've done the roof, you're not going to do anything on it. You're not going to paint it. You're not going to add anything. That's what you see, you know. And if you don't get it right, then it means that it will be a pain in the neck of the client, and even for the contractor and anybody else for that matter. So today we want to look at a few things that are important for us to consider when you are doing the roof. The obvious one, of course, is you need to select a good fundi for the roof, one with experience and skills, you know. Then your choice of material also has to be according to your pocket. It can be cheap but good quality, not necessarily that expensive is good quality. Roof type also is important. That also need to know, are you doing a flat roof? Are you doing a gable? Are you doing a hip? You know, so those are the things that you need to know in advance. And your designer should be able to help you and tell you, okay, this is what you're going to do, and this is what is going to come out well. I think the one that normally becomes a challenge is the pitch. You all have seen roofs with either very high pitch or very low pitch. Yeah, that is, the roof protrudes so much. The height is bigger than the walls. Yeah, the headroom of the wall. Yet it's not a roof that the owner was intending to use. Maybe like to create an attic roof room for that matter. So if you know that you're not going to create an attic room inside your house, you know, like you're not going to use the space inside the roof, yeah, then there are certain, you know, the degree that you need to use, and that can help you. And most of the time, what the fundi is a very high pitch, because for them sometimes the materials that they give according to the percentage, the labor, sorry, the labor that they give, the labor that the roofer will give you is normally a percentage of the roof. So the higher the roof, the more the labor for the roofer. The bigger the roof, the more labor for the roofer. But the question is, at the end of the day, you know, is the roof going to be aesthetically appealing? Is it going to be something that is nice and actually, you know, going to be a good finishing for the client? So it's important that you find out the degree. And all we know is that we have different types of roofing materials. We have the normal ordinary iron sheets. Some are plain, some are colored, some are gauges are different. Then you also have this specialized one from the companies like MRM. You have elegantile, you have those versatile that are a bit more decorative and premium in nature, but they also cost a lot, you know. So it's important that you also, as a client, you actually decide the type of roof that you want and your budget. Is your budget, you know, able to afford that type of roof? Are you going to be able to afford to buy the expensive ones or the cheap ones? And note, it doesn't mean that when you buy the one that is cheap, that is it's a poor quality. No, it's not. We have ordinary iron sheets that are 32 gauge. Yeah, we have 32 gauge, we have 30 gauge. And for information, 32 gauge is not good for a roof. That is the 32 gauge ordinary mabati. That is only normally suited for things like site houses, you know, just low level and build and structure that are not really to be used for, you know, for people to dwell in. A good gauge to start with is normally 30 gauge. So even if we're talking about ordinary iron sheet, remember that we're talking about 30 gauge of good quality. In as much as it's colored, we have colored and we have ordinary, but as long as it's 30 gauge, the price is low. It may look cheap, but it's still a good quality. Then for those ones that are premier, the premier one, we have You know, there's a elegantile, there's a versatile, there's a orientile. You know, those ones are normally much expensive because also they are very decorative. And normally they are the gauge normally the gauges normally is 28 gauge. You find that most of the time they are 28 gauge, not even 30. They also look good. So it's your choice, and again, it's your pocket that normally determines whether you're going to do the ordinary iron sheet or you're going to use the premium one. You also have Decra. Decra, I think, is the most expensive roofing materials that we have in this country. Unless somebody can share with us any other one that is expensive in the comment section. So, but we agree that Decra, the pitch has to be very high to reduce the leakage, because Decra, they are short, they have short spans in nature, about maybe 450 millimeters, while the normal iron sheets goes for 3 meters, 2 meters, 2.5. So it's easier when you have, you know, a small pitch for the longer profile and the higher pitch for Decra. So Decra at least 35 and above. It's also important that we know that. Same with clay tiles. That also are normally more or less the same size. So it's important. That's why we're saying that material that you're going to use determines a lot. Determines the pitch. Also determines the cost of labor. Determines also the beauty and everything. So do your research and look at all the options, and then choose the one that you believe is best suited for you. Before we forget, remember the fisher board is very important. At the best, fisher board is 8 inches and above. Those ones that are 6 inches, you know, normally they are small and they also don't look good. So 8 inches and above, and especially cypress. Then straight ones that have been planed well and don't have a lot of bends and straight ones. And those ones that have been planed well, those ones are the ones that you use for your fisher board. Remember, the fisher board also has its own functions. It's the first line of defense and acts as a windbreaker. You know, it's easier for a house for wind to affect the roof of the house, the sheets, if you don't have a fisher board. So the fisher board is not just for beauty, my friends. Fisher board has a function, and that is your first line of defense. So remember that. Number two, the fisher board also it's also provide for you a firm base for your gutters. Where do you put your gutters normally? You put them on the fisher board. So do your fisher board well, get the good quality, do them firmly, then you have your gutter on it. Then number three, fisher board also adds to the beauty. You know, a house without a fisher board is just like food without salt. Yeah, in a lather, you know, the food is nice, but lather. So that's the impression that you have when you have a roof without a fisher board. And this fisher board, you have to select a good size, like 8 inches is normally a good size. That is 8 by 1, 200 millimeter by 25 millimeter. Then inapigwa vizuri, inanyoroshwa, inakaa straight, and the fundi also anaiweka kama iko straight. It actually gives you the final good finish of the house. When you're done with it, remember to do it in such a way that also the bats don't get space to enter into your roof. I know of people sometimes also do the Dutch verge, or I hear them, they're called weatherboard, where you end up having some ugly plastic or ugly small windows up there. Those Dutch verges or those weatherboard, if they are placed well and they're placed nicely, they normally brings out the beauty of the house. But again, don't put too many of them. Kila corner, kila mahali. Just try and put them where possible and where necessary. Remember, too much of anything is dangerous. You've seen a small house that has so many of those madoidoidos, makona kona, pitch, mahip, hapa na pale. Yani you look at a roof and you just get tired. You're like, man, I need to rest. All this you find here in Gen Z today. Please like and subscribe. We'll get you all the details, all the information, small or big. For us, whatever you get in and can help you in saving the cost of your house, making the house come out beautiful and functional, we will cover it here. So please like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you.